All right, we're going to try creating this chair right here. So we'll start off with a rectangle, and we will use this as kind of the foundation of the chair. Now, I'm not using this image to kind of trace it. I'm just going to kind of use it to kind of give you some idea of what this chair looks like. So we will put that off to the side right now, and we want to create kind of just a platform for the chair and something somewhat rectangular. And it definitely does curve down in the center. So let's go ahead and add a edge loop right there. And actually what we can do is in the edge loop tool, I'll set this to multiple edge loops, set it to 1, and it'll stick one right in the center. And then maybe go back and just set that to relative distance. Okay. And then it looks like this edge loop is going to be down a little bit, kind of sinks in. And maybe this edge loop also is going to be kind of pushed forward a little. So we get kind of that shape. Then let's make that its own separate object, so it'll be easier for us to do some texturing later. So I am going to add some edge loops to kind of support this, but they're going to be pretty far away from the edge because I don't want it to be super square. I want it to be nice and rounded, just like that one is. And it gives us something like this. Okay, I'm trying to see if I like that or not, but yeah, let's say that I do. Cool. All right, let me just push that up a little bit. Feels like a bit much. All right, more or less, that's the same shape. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a rectangle now, and we'll do the rest of the chair. So this is, it looks like it's going to be comprised of like multiple pieces that kind of come together. So I'm going to do something like this. And here I'm not really, just like before we were kind of doing one shape, I'm going to do a bunch of like separate shapes for this one. So we're going to pull that out, and that's just kind of a beam that we can use as kind of the foundation. Okay. And let's get that object to, I could again bevel, I mean, make a extrusion like this. And then I could take this face. In fact, probably a good idea. Let's just pull that back. Or I could just kind of build it with this piece in mind. In fact, actually, I'm going to do that. So we're going to just take this piece and we're going to make duplicates of it. And you can do that by holding down Shift as you move it. It'll make a clone of it. And let's do a clone of these. Rotate them. We wanted to get it exactly 90 degrees. Let's turn on our snaps and our rotation settings. Set it to snap to relative 15 degrees. Perfect. Then I'll just take these objects and put them where they need to go. And these ones are a little bit shorter, so I'll just go ahead and shrink them. So I'm going to delete this one and just duplicate this one. It'll be easier. Let that thing kind of spill out a little bit so you have that nice little edge right there. Just push that in. Okay. Then it looks like we have some legs that kind of come out of here. So we'll start with a cube. Stick that up where it needs to go. And mine's not going to look exactly like this one, and that's okay. All right, let's take that face and pull it down. Just get that all the way down to the ground. And if we turn on snap to grid, we'll make sure that that touches the grid. And if you need to move everything else up a little bit, that's fine. Okay, I'll just turn my snaps off. And then this looks like kind of comes out a little bit. And let me just take this object and just make it a little thinner. And this face also goes a little bit that way. Let's take this object and duplicate it with Shift. And it kind of goes the other way now. So I'm going to reflect it. So I'll do Edit. And I'm going to duplicate Special. And I'll just say that it has a scale of -1. See it? Nope, that's the wrong way. Let's try it here. And let's do another one with a scale of -1 this way. Okay, so I'll delete that. This one's going to go back here. And this one, another duplicate special with the scale of -1. Fly, nope, not that one. There we go. So that's that. And then we are gonna have to build the back of the chair up, which it looks like it kind of comes out of here, but I think again, for the sake of this, we'll just kind of do it ourselves. And I will start with this shape, rotate it, put that where it needs to go. And it looks like we do probably want to just push this back a little bit so that we can start here instead. And maybe even like pull this out a little. So it kind of comes to that spot right there. All right, I'm just going to delete this one and duplicate all this. We know it's in the right spot. Let's duplicate this one. Looks good. And our chair kind of tapers in a little bit on the top. So let's take this. Actually, I'll delete this object. We'll just do it once so we don't have to make it look exactly the same. Maybe just pull this in and maybe shrink it a little bit. And let's see how high up that is. Is that about right? I don't really know what the back looks like, but let's just say that's fine. Okay, let's duplicate special this one. Let's try -1. There we go. It's good. And we want this shape right here. And maybe I'll just start with this cushion. Shift. And let's take this edge. Oops. Just push it back a little bit. This one as well. Okay. Let's move this object back. Squish it a little. And it looks like the edges kind of round in a little bit. So I'm going to take these 4 edges with Shift. I'm going to select them all. And just pull them in a bit. And it looks like this does have a little bit of a hard edge, so I'm going to insert an edge loop here and here. And maybe even take this edge. I'm having to hold Shift for some reason to get all those. pull it in a little bit. Let's push it back a little bit too. All right, something like that. This top edge doesn't come down as much, so let me just. Okay, so now let's add the high poly to this part. Let's add high poly to this part, and we end up with this for our chair. Is there anything I need to fix? Let's make this a little thicker and a little bigger. Looks kind of like a chair. Let's make this a little thinner. Voila. Okay. Now we're going to assign a different material to this one because we don't want it to look like the rest of them. So in Unreal, it'll be easier. So we're going to assign a new material. And it doesn't really matter what you pick. I'm just picking Blinn. Do an edit, delete all by type, history, and that'll allow us to access some stuff. I'll explain more of that later. But I'm going to go in here into my Blinn one. Let's just call that one m_chair seat. And then everything else will just be the other material, which if I select all those objects, make sure you got them all. We will make sure that that Lambert one is called, oh, it's not letting us change it. Let's make a new material for that. Assign new material, m_, just pick Blinn, it's fine. m_, chair wood. Okay, now select all of it. And we're going to do a mesh combine. And then we're going to do a UV automatic to flatten it all out into a single plane. We are now ready to bring this into Unreal. So I'm going to go to File, Export Selection, and we are going to put in our documents, call it static mesh _ chair, and then your name. And then let's go into Unreal and see if we can get this thing to load. This is going to take a minute. I should have had this open already, but be patient, and you can see how we add this to Unreal. And then you can assign different materials to it. Well, not bad. Oh, I think I did everything right, I think. Okay, let's see how it goes. So we're going to go into our documents now and drag that chair in, which is the FBX. Let's pull it in. Oh, I have to bring it into my content drawer. For all. And there it is. Let's pull it up. Just going to scale it so it's nice and big. And it should have two materials. So one of them is wood. So let's find a wood material for it, for that part. And then for this part, the seat, let's find like a carpet maybe. I don't know if there is one now. Yeah, I can just leave it white. Is there leather? I could find one on Quixel Bridge, but I think for now I'll just leave it as that. I actually want to find a slightly less dark wood. That one's pretty dark. It's a little hard to see the details. So let's do something like that. And you can see that the alignment of the UVs is actually going the wrong direction for this. So let's fix that. You can see that we want the wood to be going a different direction. So I'm going to go in here into Maya. I'm going to go to my UV editor, and I'm actually just going to take all these UVs, go to UV shell, and just rotate it 90 degrees. And then let's get that to fit. Make sure everything is fitting. If you need to shrink it a little bit, that's okay. So let's export this again. File, Export Selection. And we'll do SM Chair Gianelli. Yes, we're replacing it. And then in here, if we just go to, let's find that chair. Just go to re-import. And there you go. Now you can see that the wood is facing the correct direction. And we managed to create a chair. And again, if you wanted to change its seat to something else, you can do that. I just don't know if there's any materials in here that are going to really be cloth-like. So going into Quixel Bridge. Log in. And then let's go to surfaces, and let's see if they have anything like carpet. Some of the stuff we have, it looks like old carpet, dusty carpet. Let's try leather. Well, that's kind of cool. Let's do the studded leather. So I'm just gonna go low, medium quality, so it's faster. And I already signed in, so download. Actually, I think I could just drag it. There it is. It actually put it on my chair. It's not where I wanted it, but let's try this. We can just type in studded leather. And we can go in here and type in wood. We had the oak. And then if I go into this material instance, I can actually shrink it, because right now you can see it's really big. So I'm going to go in and set the tiling. Let's see, angle, strength, size, albedo, global. Let's see, where is the size? I guess I don't have an option. Here we go, tiling. Let's try 0.1. Oh, let's try 10. There you go. Let's put a light here so you can see that. Okay, that's too much. Let's try 5. And there we go. Oops. I want to delete that. So now we have a pretty darn good looking chair. Oops. Black's a little hard to see, but there it is. So now when we play our game. Whoa, I apologize. And you can figure out the correct scale and everything. Yeah, there we go. Last thing is, if you want the collisions to be correct, go double click on it. And you can see that right now there is no collision. If we go to view, show, collision, let's look at the simple collision and then the show collision, the complex. And you can see that the simple collision isn't very good. So let's give it a better collision. We're going to go to collision, auto convex collision, and let's hit apply and see what that does. And then now you can see that that green one is going to be a little bit better. And that's what we want. So let's save that and scale it down to the correct size. And then if you go into physics, let's simulate physics, and we should be able to see if I can delete those. Should be able to knock it over. Let's hit play and see.